So we've been talking about integers. We talked about what integers are, and we talked about prime integers and composite integers. Now we're going to start reviewing how to have integers interact with each other. So first, we're going to use a number line to add two integers. Sorry, horribly not straight line there. We're going to add two integers together. So let's do an addition problem. If we start with negative 11 and we add 8, okay, and let's use the number line. So first, we're going to start with our pencil on negative 11. Start with pencil on negative 11. Okay, so that would be here. You're going to start with your pencil tip there. Then move 8 jumps to the right, because we're adding, so we're going to get bigger. Okay, so we start on 11 and we go 8 jumps to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we end up at negative 3. So negative 11 plus 8 equals negative 3. Okay, let's try a different one. Let me clear my number line here. And let's try 4 plus negative 2. Let's see what that equals using our number line. So we start with our pencil on 4. Start with pencil on 4. And in this case, we're starting on the positive side, greater than 0. So we start with it on 4. Then we move 2 jumps, but it's going to be 2 jumps to the left because it's negative. Move 2 jumps to the left. Okay, so we start on 4 and we go 2 jumps to the left. 1, 2. The answer to that is 2. Okay, so you'll recognize that 4 plus negative 2 is the same as saying 4 minus 2 equals 2. Okay, so remember, you can think of subtracting negative or adding negative numbers the same as subtracting positive numbers. Let's look at multiple ways to look at adding integers. Okay, so what we just did was the number line. Let's go ahead and pick some numbers. Let's do negative 5 plus 8. Okay, so numerically, if we say negative, we start with negative 5 and we add 8, then we're going to end up with positive 3. So let's look at that on the number line. We start at 0 and we go down negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we can draw an arrow there to help us remember where we are at. Okay, so we went 5 in the negative direction, which is left. Then we have to go in the positive direction to the right, 8 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That brings us up to the positive 3. So let's go ahead and draw that arrow in, positive 3. And that's where we end up. And you'll see that these are the same. Now let's write this out in words. Okay, so let's think of a real life example when you might be able to apply this kind of math. So we don't have a football team, but let's talk about a football team. The football team, the football team, whenever there's a negative 5 yards in football, it's a loss. The football team was pushed back 5 yards. during the first play. Sad, but they were able to gain, so have a positive 8 yards during the second play. So the result, the net result, the overall result was that they gained 3 yards. Let's look at this as 0 pairs. And so one way we can do this is we can use negative and positive symbols to zero out the pairs and see what our answer is going to be. Now, this only works with smaller numbers to do it this long way, but let's go ahead and do this. So we start with 5 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to add 8 pluses, positive 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, anytime we have a negative and a positive, they cancel each other out. So let's go ahead and get rid of. So that's gone. Those are gone. Those are gone. Those are gone. And those are gone. What are we left with? We are left with 1, 2, 3 pluses. So this leaves us with a positive 3, which is what we got here and here. Okay, so these are 4 different ways to picture the same addition problem. Now let's look at subtraction. Okay, so it says use the number line to subtract 2 integers. Let's look at the problem. Negative 2 minus 8 is equal to negative 10. Okay, so we're going to start with our pencil on negative 2, negative 2. Then move 8 jumps, and which direction is it? How do we know which direction? It's negative, so it's going to go more left. 8 jumps left. Okay, so we start at negative 2 and go 8 jumps left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we can see that our answer is negative 10. Okay, let's do another one with the number line. Let's do 5 minus 11 is equal to. So we're going to start this time with our pencil on a positive number, positive 5. Then move 11 jumps. Which way are we going? We're going to go to the left because we're getting smaller. 11 jumps to the left. So we start on positive 5 and let's go 11 jumps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And that lands us on negative 6. So 5 minus 11, oops, I said 6 and wrote 5. Negative 6. 5 minus 11 is negative 6. Okay, let's go ahead and look at, move over here, another subtraction problem. So this is, once again, we're subtracting 2 integers, but the difference is that this one, the second integer, is negative. Okay, we're subtracting a negative number. So let's look at negative 1 minus negative 8. Okay, so remember, minuses mean opposite, or negatives mean opposite. And then also remember that 2 minuses together equal a plus. Okay, so however your brain wants to think about it, that's how you think about it. If you want to just think about the fact that 2 minuses equal a plus, you can do that. Or if you want to think of opposite of 8, that works as well, however your brain works. Okay, so we're going to start with our pencil at -1. That would be here. And then we're going to move 8 jumps. Okay, so we're going to move 8 jumps. Now the minus means we're going to move left, right? Because we're getting smaller. But this next negative symbol means opposite of that. So this one tells us to go left, but this one tells us to reverse that. So we're going to move 8 jumps right. So -1 and 8 jumps right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And that lands us on +7. So if you think of the two negatives as making a positive, that makes sense as well. -1 plus 8 is equal to 7. So let's try 4 minus -1. See where that lands us. Once again, the difference is that we're starting with a positive number here. So we're going to start at +4 and move 1 jump. Which direction? This first subtraction tells us we're going to go left, but then the negative sign tells us to reverse that, and we're going to end up going right. So 1 jump right. So we'll start at 4, 1 jump right, lands us on 5. And if we wanted to combine these into a plus sign, we'd see that it is true as well. 4 plus 1 equals 5. However your brain works, that's how you do it. So let's look at the multiple representations of subtracting integers. So by numbers, we have -7 minus -5 is equal to -2. And then let's look at it on a number line. We start at 0 and then we go down to -7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so we're going to subtract 7. That takes us over there. But then we're going to subtract even more, but because we're subtracting a negative, it reverses. So we're going to go to the right 5 jumps. From -7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the -2. And that's what we get. That's what we get up here. Same answer. Okay, so let's look at a word problem. James borrows 7 books from the library. Okay, James borrows 7 books from the library. So the library has 7 less books than it did before. But then he returns 5 of the books that he owes. Okay, so he has 7. He already owes 5, but he returns them back. So the library ends up with just a net change of -2. Let's go ahead and look at the 0 pairs. Okay, so we have 7 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then remember the negative and the negative together make pluses. So we have 5 pluses. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these cancel out. Those partner together to make 0. 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 And we're left with 2 negatives. So we're left with negative and 2 of those. Okay, so 4 different ways to look at subtracting integers. Remember, you use what works best for you, okay? Everyone's brain works differently, so you use the method that works for you. So let's real quick look at how do you change a subtraction problem into an addition problem. So instead of subtracting the second number, we can add the opposite of the second number. Okay, so what this looks like is if we have -6 minus -7 equals 1, we can change this subtraction problem into an addition problem by adding the opposite of the second number. So we have -6, and we're going to add the opposite. The opposite of -7 is +7 equals 1. Then of course you don't need both positive, you don't need the plus and the positive there, so we can simplify that to -6 plus 7 is equal to 1.